You ready over there? Okay. All right, I'd like to call this special meeting of the Seaside School Board into session. All here, did everybody get a chance to look at the agenda? Quick note for the audience at home and board members, the agenda from things have been added to the agenda today that were not there yesterday. So if anyone at home looked at the agenda yesterday, if you might want to go back and look at this updated agenda, there are a few things that were added today. But you guys,
I can clarify that there were no agenda items added, just some attachments to support your discussion today.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
a second. All right, a motion has been made and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we are here today to discuss the new superintendent recruitment and employee process. Leslie has kindly put some bullet points under that so we can try to stay on topic. But one of the first, I think, things we need to discuss is in-house, if we take this process on ourselves or if we hire outside consultants. So historically, I know when they hired Sheila Rowley, maybe Brian, you can talk to this, we hired a consultant service. I was not on the board at that time. When
So,
we hired Susan, we went in-house.
when Doug retired or gave his retirement, Sheila was also retiring at that same time. And we had.
And she was the principal.
She was the principal at the high school.
Okay.
And so I can't remember the total process of how it all went down, but she said, we kind of offered her the job saying, hey, do you want to jump in and take this role over? But she was retiring as principal, so she was thinking about retirement. And then, so we kind of went through selecting the recruitment process and things like that. And then it was like the 11th hour, like the night before, called up. I think it was our board chair, Steve Phillips at the time, and said, hey, I want to give this a shot. And I'll give you 3 years to find my replacement. Like she said, I'll just do a 3-year contract. And she did that to kind of bridge the gap of, because we just started the building process and things like that. So she was just there to bridge that gap. So that's kind of how, if I remember correctly, that's how that happened.
But you did go through with the outside.
No.
Oh, you ended up not doing it?
Not until.
The board hired a consultant or a
Yeah.
consultant firm who ran the process.
With Sheila?
What happened was, as you said, at the 11th hour, Sheila changed her mind about throwing her hat in the ring.
Yeah. Because I don't remember going through this like same process we did with Susan, where we did all the, went through all the.
In the materials, there is the
Not like 10 years ago.
2016
It was
superintendent search materials.
Okay.
And you'll see the consulting firm's brochure or not brochure, their advertising piece for
Yeah.
promoting the district, their application.
Right, because I just remember that because we were like, hey, do we have anybody in-house? And that's where, Sheila said no, but then she said yes, because it's. But it was right, because we didn't go through, we hired the firm to do it, but we never went through with it. The recruiting piece. I know that we have this up there, but I'm just trying to I'm trying to jog my memory.
Like, did we pay for the consultant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have the budget to pay for consultant service?
Well, that's another piece, right? So in some of these.
Oh, like 24,000.
It was 24,000. They were about, that outside firm seemed to be similar and roughly, but OSBA was a little less expensive.
It's about half.
About
Okay,
half. I want to say it was
right.
like 10 plus.
Yeah, the
Any
costs
extra?
are all in the packets.
I
skimmed through
Mhm.
that
It was
those
a lot.
documents. And I don't feel that I have had enough time to review the documents
Mhm.
to be able to say one way or the other. And
Yeah.
like to review them. I mean, I tried to go through them at work today, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And it was a lot of detail.
It was fast.
Important detail.
If I can just, I don't mean to keep butting in. I don't think that it's an objective tonight to pick a consulting firm.
Mhm.
No.
No.
It's just a matter of deciding, do you want to pursue that avenue? Or do you want to pursue just doing it in-house with staff at the district office?
So when we did it, when we went through the process with Susan, or picking the current superintendent, we did that in-house.
Mhm.
And Susan, were you an assistant superintendent first?
Yeah, I was hired as the assistant superintendent with the intention of becoming the superintendent afterwards. So I had the 1 year where I was the assistant superintendent. Sheila trained me. And then I didn't have to reapply to become the superintendent. I was then appointed after that.
Yeah, you'll
Mhm.
see the job posting.
Right, but we wouldn't have
Um,
enough time to do it that way because you're.
Not an assistant superintendent, we have to just go straight superintendent.
Exactly.
But I
Okay.
think what kind of from reviewing all of, I didn't go super in depth, but reviewing the proposals from the outside companies versus how we did it in-house, I think, it's pretty similar process. It would just be like when you were hired, we set up committees with, the staff, the board. What there's a community Q&A at some point in time.
Yeah, and I can explain that.
Yeah.
I can explain the process from
From your
myself
side.
as a person who interviewed. There were 4 groups that I interviewed with and was a licensed group, and there were like 10 to 12 people on that team. And they had their set of questions. There was this same number of people for the classified group. And then there was a group of the board members and the current superintendent, Sheila. And then there was the leadership team. And that first round that I went through was those 4 45-minute interview sessions. And from talking with Sheila, then she helped the board organize that process, worked with each of those employee groups to develop those teams, get the volunteers, worked with them collaboratively to develop the questions, and then get feedback from each of those groups on the candidates. Because there were 2 nights that they did those initial rounds, and I think they had 3 candidates on each of the nights for a total of 6 candidates. And then when I was invited back for the second one was when I came back for the whole day, and I think I had like a breakfast meeting with some community leaders, and then I toured the schools, and then I had lunch with the 3 mayors. And then I had like a tour of the district and like the boundaries of the district. And then there was like an hour and a half community forum where there were about 100 people there, I think. And they asked a lot of questions. And they all had a survey that they could fill out. And then the board took all that information and made their final decision. I personally thought it was a really good process, and I loved how I had an opportunity to meet so many staff, and staff were really involved in the process. That was from a candidate's perspective, that's I thought it was a really, really great process.
So it was run in-house
Mhm.
and you felt like it was run pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Who would run that? Who would be? the
Yeah,
one
who's in
to-
charge?
Well, we'd have to figure that out, but I would imagine
Mhm.
I would do that and Susan would help kind of facilitate getting people we've talked about it, getting people together, getting the groups together, time-wise, it would help.
I have a question.
Yes, but
That
substitution,
was going outside the district.
correct.
When the job was offered to Sheila or Doug or Harold. Was any of that done, or did the board simply say, we know this person and we're offering them the job?
I don't know. I can't talk to that. I wasn't around for that information, so I don't.
Cause like with Sheila, it sounded like it was offered before the group was even contracted. And then the 11th hour, she said, yes, I'd like to do it. And the board said, great. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, like, was anybody else interviewed with Sheila? Did you get to that point?
No, that's what I'm saying, is I
Okay.
don't, we might have gotten all the materials ready to go out, and then, we're like, hey. She knew she knows the school, she has a rapport with everybody. Right, so that's kind of what I remember.
So where I'm coming from is that I think we're a little bit late in the game in terms of hiring. It would be nice if we had already hired, say, in January.
Mhm.
This is a process that takes time.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna require quite a bit of time moving forward. We have a local option that has to be passed in May.
Mhm.
We have evidently a budget shortfall that we have to figure out. We and this new superintendent and the old superintendent have to figure out how that's all gonna work. I think if we have an in-house candidate, we should give that some real strong consideration because of the parameters that we're looking at.
So I guess the question would be then, how do we have people in-house with the credentials to be the superintendent? That'd be like the next question that we'd have to ask, if that's the route we go, right? That's,
Or that could be the route we start. We might say, oh, we don't have anybody there that has the credentials, or maybe that we want to hire. And then we move right on with all the rest of this. But I think looking there first might not be a bad idea.
If we wait.
Yeah, can we do it at the same time?
I
Like, put it
suppose,
out, the job posts
or if
somewhere.
we're not hiring a firm, of course.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah,
'cause there'd
and
be
then
no-
you get
financial.
candidates, and if there's an in-house candidate, they have to kind of go through the same process as somebody who's not.
I'm not sure they would. That's my.
That's right, that's what you're
I
saying.
don't think they would have to necessarily go through that process. We might want them to. I'm not trying to
So,
decide for
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
We might want them to, we might not feel like we need them to. I don't know. I think with our time frame and the things that have to happen, I think if you can get somebody that already has a full understanding of the culture of the community, all the kinds of things you were talking about, the mayors, the boundaries, the needs, all those kinds of things. If we have somebody who already has a grasp of those things with kind of a short timeline, I don't think we should ignore that.
I agree with you. I don't think we should ignore that at all. I think that's a benefit. I just wonder, is that. I feel like we need to do our due diligence as well,
Yes.
right? So,
I think the question we're asking though is, are we doing this in-house or
Right.
via consultant? So we can decide on that timeline, but do we want to do it amongst ourselves to get this aligned? We can even borrow their
The
proposal
timeline.
they did the work for us.
it's not the same thing.
So we could just. not
Borrow their
reinvent the wheel.
timeline and maybe speed it up.
Yeah.
A tiny bit. I think hiring an outside source will take longer,
Oh, I was thinking it'll be faster.
because I feel like we have to work on their timeline. But maybe I'm-
Oh, No, that's.
You know
that's
what
a
I
very good
mean?
point.
As opposed to
Consultants
sitting
have-
on our own timeline, and if there's an in-house candidate that we feel is great, then that timeline could be cut shorter.
Mhm.
Could I ask a question?
You sure can.
Um,
Love it.
In the in-house versus the hired
Mhm.
consultant timeline. Do both of those, like, I know, Ms. Penrod was saying that they like talk to classified, talk
Mhm.
to certified, where do the student voices come into that? And, depending on which route we go, how does that change that portion of it?
Yeah, I mean, there were several students at that evening event. And and then also during the day, when I was here for the whole day, I did talk to several student groups.
Yeah.
And that was really nice. Part of, would you like to hear my thoughts?
Sure. I want to hear everyone's thoughts.
Okay. Part of the reason that I suggested staying until the end of August was to give us those extra couple months. And like I said, I mean, ideally, it's always nice for somebody to start July 1, but it also gives us a little bit of extra time if you feel like you need more time through that process. And as I shared, if you hire somebody a little bit later after that, I'm willing to, stay and work on a contract basis to help train the person. I hear what you're saying, Chuck. I also think that in a position of this capacity, it's really important to get input from everybody in the process. And, if an internal candidate rises to the top, I think that's, that may very well happen. But I also think that, you may find, you may find a candidate out of district too. And, the process to allow, staff and students and everybody an opportunity to be part of the process, I think just gives people a chance to share their thoughts. So I'll just.
And who says we can't do that also with an outside
Right.
company, right? Dictate, this is what we're wanting out of this interview process.
Right.
Is to make sure everyone's included.
And it's ultimately your decision, but I just,
Sounds like he's the first proposal, or what I like the best, had all those components in it.
So salt the town.
I think we're saying we can get the same thing out of both,
Correct.
right? We can do the same thing in-house and we can do the same thing using a consultant. We can evaluate in-house people and we can evaluate outside people, and the consideration is whether we take on the responsibility or we hire somebody to help us with that. But yes, I think we should absolutely always look at somebody who is here and has invested their time in our community and give them that opportunity, and as well as do our due diligence while we're talking about time, because we'll lose that time if we focus in one area and then we don't have anybody, or it doesn't end up turning out and now we've lost that time. My reading through the things, my first thought was, oh yes, a consultant would be great.
Well, yeah,
That was my initial too.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're not that big of a district, we have one high school, one middle school, one elementary school. I don't think it would be that challenging to do it. It'd be a little bit of work, but not challenging to do it in-house. If we want to save ourselves $25,000. Because we'd have to find that in the budget somewhere,
Right.
I imagine.
So we just put in some elbow grease.
I saw a price that was significantly less.
The OSBA one was I'm gonna go like 10 grand.
Yeah, and just tossing this out there. So if we are kind of saying we would consider doing this in-house, but you also have a guidance that is significantly cheaper, bounce ideas off of,
Right.
and I don't know, I wouldn't not consider that either,
What would they do for us that we wouldn't do? Or we would have trouble doing?
I just shared a summary of it, of the proposals, like the 4 proposals, just kind of in a side-by-side table. I think it's just worth reading through that for all of us, and you can get a taste of like, it's probably worth 10 grand. I mean, I'd be worth $22,000. Well, it's on the other side of the fact that we're looking for someone who we will invest $600,000 in over the next 4 years and who will have to put up with us. So $20,000 now may not seem like all that much, 2.5 years in,
Right.
and they're ready to wring our necks. To Chuck's point, like, great comment, great point. I love the easy button. And so I don't think anyone's gonna say like, look, even if we pick a consultant, who can pick the most important one, someone bubbles to the top right away and we're in-house, then smash the easy button. Like, I think we're all in that same place. I just don't wanna I don't wanna miss out on anything out there just because of the timeline that we have right now. So that's just my general thoughts. What I think I really want to focus on in here too is, so we've decided, like, we'll review this, we'll decide at some other point about the consulting piece. What will that panel look like? Will we set up a specific like recruiting panel or team to kind of lead that with 2 or 3 of us? And then who else should that include? Who else can that include, both in a voting role, but also in an advisory role? And I want to be very, very transparent in that. So if you guys, like, what did that consist of before? Was it classified? Was there a classified representative on there, someone from the union? Certified? Like, what other roles can we bring into that to help shape the conversation?
Well, I think that's kind of what happened with Susan, in a sense that, I mean, I don't know who organized this, the whole, I'm assuming it was Mark at the time.
Let me think. So,
We could get.
you know, because Steve would have been kind of part of it too, Steve Phillips, and then Mark would have been also on in that group. And also Patrick Nofield. We had a couple like resignations. That's when you two came.
That's when we
right?
came on right during that process.
Yeah, right in the middle of it.
Hello.
Is a unique situation. I just remember meeting in small groups and we had stacks of resumes. It was, and so I can't remember, I think Justine went through them all, and if they didn't like cover pages wrong, garbage, like just kind of siphon through. If you didn't do it correctly, then it's like you're obviously not paying attention. We don't need you. So she whittled it down. I think there were like 50 applicants.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, it's just, you know, she
Yeah,
said it's a popular place. There were a lot of
And
applicants.
you talk about like who's gonna do the work.
Right.
You guys are gonna make the decisions and district staff is gonna do the work.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Big
We're the
surprise.
ones, unless, you know,
Bring us
you
blood
guys
pressure.
are gonna create the marketing
Yeah.
materials and the job posting, like from an HR standpoint, which is like half my job. It's a
I
lot of
promise
it's
you'll
gonna
take
be
care
HR staff.
I promise to share it on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like.
And
Right,
I think we
Doing-
probably
doing-
have to get us like a couple of us to sit down and
Right.
maybe we give each other permission to be like, okay, you 3 are gonna review the first 50 applicants and
Yeah, it's-
whittle it down to
I
who
have
we
a
have
feeling
to bring it in.
I have a
and review.
feeling that it's gonna be a lot.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And instead of the whole board having to meet and whittling down all of those, you know, do we put faith in 3 of us to sit down and get together and do it?
Well, that's where we did, because we had small groups, so like,
Right.
it would be like Chuck and I would sit down for a day, and then you two would sit down for a
Okay.
day, and you two would sit down for a day together and just be like, these are the 5 people I like. You know, I mean, it
And we
takes,
can bring them together.
I was like 4 hours of
Sure.
kind of going through stuff and.
Yeah.
yeah, I
so
think
you normally have a committee
Yeah.
from the board to go through that. And then, I mean, I could definitely help you, by, working with the different employee groups to,
The employee groups went through the applications too. Like, it was quite a few people went through it, if I remember correctly.
to organize the employee groups who would be part of the, interviews.
Interviews, yeah. They would all have, every group would have a piece of an interview.
Yeah. it's
Like
kind
a
of-
piece of the process.
We can all know. Yeah, because some of them didn't look real, like it
And
wasn't.
just
even
give their
like-
inputs.
it's like,
The
how
other
can
question
some-
is, those who
you know,
take this, that you will be doing a lot
Yeah.
of organizing, district staff will be doing a lot of organizing, do you guys have the bandwidth to do that?
Do you have the bandwidth to, is your team?
I was ready to do some
We can-
Sure.
I mean, we're happy to do it. And, you know, I mean, the first thing we would need to do is develop a timeline. You know, that the application is, you know, is open. I mean, we have the application, we have the 3 essays that were required. You know, we have all of that. I think this committee would need to review that and make sure that's still what you'd want to do, you know, determine how long you want to leave it open, I mean, that's to be able to develop that timeline. It's going to be open for this long, then we're going to set aside this time to review applications. Then this is when we're going to do interviews, and then, you know, to be able to just develop that timeline. And, you know, this one you want to have the person hired and then work backwards.
So I'm looking from a continuity standpoint, right? Susan has done some great work in getting things really moving forward in a great direction, you know, somebody in-house gonna keep that forward momentum? If we hire someone, you know, out of our district, are they gonna be able to pick up, you know, the pieces? I know Susan is offering to do training and whatnot, but you know, is that person gonna be able to shoulder the load and pick up all the pieces and keep us moving forward
Hope so.
at our direction? You know, that's one of my concerns, right? That's one of my concerns. So, you
I
know,
think the hard part is we have no candidates in front of us right now, so the
Right.
decision of.
well, that's what I'm wondering is do we have anybody in-house in our district that has the credentials? I know that like some of or at least one person that has superintendent experience that I know of.
Well, you haven't
You know,
put out, I mean,
Yeah.
tonight what you're
But this is
deciding is
just,
the
you know,
process.
things,
Yeah.
yeah, we just
You're
know
deciding
about
the
them, right?
process.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like,
And that would be great.
you
if
know, we
that-
just need to set up our process,
You know,
right? So I mean, that's
Yeah,
where.
and in terms of, again, from the HR perspective, you can, whether you're working with a consultant, if we're doing it in-house, you can make those decisions, like we're gonna require external candidates to fill out a comprehensive application. Internal candidates, we have an alternate application that they can use. We do that.
That happens all the time
We
here,
do
right?
that with our employee groups.
Sure.
So you can set different criteria for those 2 groups. I think the important thing is that once you set your criteria, you follow through.
What do we do for teachers right now? Like internal, you know, a job comes open and we allow like 5 days or something like that, right? Internally before we put it external, is that our process right now?
Generally
something like
speaking,
that.
yes.
Yeah, okay,
The 2 employee groups, there are different criteria, but
right.
Right.
yes, generally jobs are posted for a certain number of days internally before they open to external candidates.
And then in that process, if we find somebody here that is in the teaching position, right, our process we do with teachers or classified staff, right, we won't even put it out if we have a good candidate in-house.
Sometimes.
Okay,
It
It all
depends if
depends,
they're
right.
applying for a job outside of their employee group.
right.
Mhm.
I don't know where this information would come from, but is there a recommended way that districts go consultant or in-house, or is it just?
I mean, I would think all the consultants
have
would
to
tell
tell-
you to.
One of the consultant lists, they have a list of schools that they've helped.
And they gave us
What?
references to call.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of them had all the schools that they've helped recently, so that would be,
That's a,
those are all schools that have gone consultant, right? With this particular one, that's what I noticed in our paperwork, scanning through that.
I guess I'm also thinking of the most transparency, the most involvement, the most satisfaction at the end from staff, from the people who this person will be working for, working for and with.
Mhm.
That's my biggest concern is, how we go about that and being fair in the selection process.
I don't think there's any question that when you involve the different groups and you get their take on ranking who they think, and you take and put all that together. Of course, that develops credibility.
And that can happen either way.
And that can happen either. I think you need to involve as many groups as you can
Mhm.
to keep it transparent, yeah, for sure. And not just.
Yeah.
I feel like that's happened in our district, is like, we offer someone the job that we think is capable. You know,
Yeah,
Sorry.
so obviously the consultant option is more expensive, right? But it's not expensive without good reason to be expensive, I would hope. And that's why there's multiple options. So the workload that is paying for would fall back upon like employees of the school district. So would it just be with current district employees, or would it be you would hire somebody to do that? And there is a lot going on in our school right now, and in the world that the board and the school district is having to deal with. And so how would having to deal with that in-house affect the ability to do what's already being done right now?
Great question.
Good question. I mean, you're right, the workload would be, that's why we pay the money. right?
Right.
So that somebody else takes something. The workload and guides, we'd still have to meet with them, we tell them what we want, what we're looking for, how we want to proceed,
Mhm.
and then they would organize all the.
Yeah, your consultant's gonna wanna have several meetings with the board to develop a profile. And to talk about the timeline and to, you know, get your thoughts to, you know, they will definitely do initial screenings for you of the
Mhm.
applicants and make recommendations for you. Of who they think you should interview.
Right,
Mhm.
so that pile of applications they would go through first.
But they will meet with you a number of times to get your feedback on things.
Yeah, and timing.
Mhm.
And I will say, I've been involved in some hiring. It's somewhat scary. Because as much as you think, you know, that's the one, you never really know.
Right, and it's a big job.
Yeah, I felt that when I read if in 8 months you need a new superintendent, they don't charge you for that, or they have to go back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. And I was like, okay.
Oh,
We're gonna
yeah, let's
hand
not do
keys to
that.
Porsche.
You get a.
You get a freebie?
Return one free,
No
no shipping.
Oh, yeah, there are guarantees.
Well, I mean,
That's
yes,
terrible.
that's
terrible.
nice, does
No,
that
that's not-
make you feel comfortable?
No,
No.
that's not gonna happen.
No,
Jason, thanks for doing this.
yeah,
Summary.
this is actually
Mhm.
helpful. Do we have kind of initial thoughts either way? Like, are you, some of you like, we don't need it? Or some of you like, definitely need it?
Initial thought, yes, consultant, but thinking through the costs and all that, I want to make the most sound decision.
Yeah, we don't have to choose a consultant's mind if we decide to get them that way.
Yeah,
Problem with me is I like the consultant that's costing the most. Because they have the most in-depth of what I'm looking for, and we try to find a superintendent. So because to me, that's the most costly, that's the direction I would want to go. Maybe we'll lean towards doing it in-house. And reading through the 50. So. Turn that.
How much are we at the mercy of their timeline as they try to meet our timeline?
That's a great question. I don't know that without asking them. I mean, I imagine we can tell them our timeline and say, this is what
Sure.
we want to do. I mean, we're in charge, we're paying the bill. You know, and they have to, can hopefully, you know,
Yes.
use that.
I look at it like we are, you know, we're a grow your own kind of district, right? So, you know, I think looking within would be our first choice, like Chuck, I agree with Chuck on that, from that side of it, you know, I mean, but is there some great superintendent out there who would love to lead the school district? You know, it's a good question. But I mean, is there, you know, somebody, you know, like I said, internally, you know, where we
Well,
don't,
if we thought about internally, like you were saying, a certain amount of times that we don't
Yeah.
lose time.
well, we do like we do in our other hires, right? we posted internally, 5 days, right? Just like we do with all of our employee groups, right? See if anything rises to the top. The first time when Sheila was here, we asked internally and nobody, one had the credentials and really wanted to step into that role or were ready to. You know, this is now 7 years later.
Just making sure I understand, you're thinking that if we do open up internal, we can really shorten down the timeline and get someone in, perhaps potentially before the July. But still go through some sort of process, but. maybe
Yeah, I
not
mean,
as-
we would still interview and have them fill out, do all the application stuff that we'd ask them to do.
It's assuming though. that
You know, but
there's
like
interest.
Leslie said, we typically, other employee groups do it's a different application. And we have all their information, basically, we have a lot of their work history already. We have a lot of their things internally. Right?
Well,
And then-
theoretically,
theoretically.
we don't know if anybody's even gonna.
Yeah.
Apply, but.
And if
yeah,
they
given-
did-
Given that they did.
Are you saying then that's, and we're happy we don't even have to go outside?
I mean,
I would say if we had a candidate we liked, yeah, I'd be very happy.
So I guess what the part that is missing for me is we're making that decision based on this, people from within. What about
I
the
think it's a
staff?
start, right? If nobody applies, then it's like, obviously, we have to go the other direction.
Sure.
But I mean, the other way, whether it's in-house or not in-house, we are going to have committees and they're gonna interview and they're gonna have input. With this, it sounds like we're not doing any of that. And so there is their input from.
Yeah, I think we still have to do the interviews and things like that, even if it is in-house. I mean, this is a big position, right? It's a big shoes to fill.
That's why I feel
That's
like.
where I think we still need
I'd
to,
be happy to have the in-house candidates apply and would want them to apply, and that would be great. But I feel like we should also at the same time be interviewing other people that might be outside. Like just a little bit of due diligence, like what if there is the, magic wand out there?
Unicorn.
Unicorn, thank you. Do you do it all at the same time, or is that a waste of time? If you think that your in-house person is.
or money. I mean,
If
really,
in-house-
that's the thought
Well, if we
process.
did- if we did it in-
If it's, if we hire the consultant, then we are paying that, which is, that's what you pay for. You pay for all the amenities, all the bells and whistles, right? For them to vet people and give you, here are your 10 best, you guys, good luck, right? That sort of thing, as opposed to sifting through 75, 80 applications, however many apply. I figure this would be you got a nice brand new school, with a nice view
Yeah, it's very
and
possible.
beautiful town, great community. Why wouldn't you want to come here and be a superintendent, right, Susan?
I'm going back to in the employee groups, we posted 5 days ahead. Those people are known because they've been working in our district. We know their work history, we know about them, etc. Do we then make them go through all the same interviews and all the same process as we would from an unknown teacher applying from a different district?
Well, we don't have the input from that we would be asking if we were to make it a longer process. We don't have the input from those other groups. And I guess that's the part that I'm wondering, like, we're missing the inputs.
Well, I'm looking at both ends of this, because I'm looking at if I'm the employee that's saying, yes, I'd like to apply.
So
How
Chad,
do I feel if I have to go through every single thing that everybody else that is completely unknown to the district has to go through?
This is
And
such a-
I have to talk to the employee groups that are already people that I'm working with. I'm questioning.
What if
it
they
in my
have
head.
questions about their vision for the future of the school? They know them in their current position. But what if the groups have questions about where this individual might want to see our school go or the district
I'm
go?
not opposed.
Mhm.
I'm trying to
And maybe
think it
not
through
exact-
from the perspective of the person applying.
Right,
If any do, and I'm just trying to make sense of it, and maybe you don't give them the exact same process, but a process nonetheless.
Well, another way to think about it is we're giving them the same opportunities as an outside source. And if they got the job, they knew it's because they earned it, not because it was just from within. Because just
Wouldn't you
because.
feel like you
feel like-
earned it, having worked here? I mean,
No, they got paid for
people
that.
wanted to do the job. I would think I earned it.
I would be afraid of,
I don't think that's.
I would be a little nervous about somebody who doesn't feel they have to get the feedback from their peers, from their people they're going to be working with, to give their vision, as you said, of what the district, how they're going to lead the district. I would be a little bit nervous about somebody who felt they didn't have to do that.
Okay.
From a student perspective here, I feel like in class or in ASB or whatever it might be, if you really want something or you really want a job or you're like, man, I really want to be class president next year, or man, I really want to be the group lead in my section and band. No matter where you're coming from, if you're a senior or a freshman or anything in between, I feel like putting in the work to get to that position and to get to that point just means that you're showing that you are going to put in the work when you're in that role and you want that job, as opposed to just like, oh, I was here, I'm a senior, I can park wherever I want, or whatever the situation may be.
Yeah.
I feel like if you put in the work that everybody else is putting on, you're just proving even further that you're willing to go for the community that you'd already know.
And they would already have an advantage, right? So they know the culture here. So I think
Well,
putting
they
them through the
should.
same regiment wouldn't be as a big of a lift because they can speak to what's already here. That is so great.
I see what you're saying, Chuck, like.
No, I'm not
Okay,
trying
yes,
to
yeah,
argue
yeah,
no,
yeah.
it should be either way. I'm trying to look at,
Yeah,
before we make a decision, think about exactly, are we doing what we want to do? So I was looking from just, I play the kind of devil's advocate, look at different perspectives.
Of course.
So yeah, I'm not arguing, I'm not opposed to any of the things that any of you are saying.
We
but-
want these ideas. so
Yeah, yeah.
it's
I-
makes us
I'm
different
thinking,
in our
I'm
ideas,
thinking
yeah.
the idea here is to get it all out there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So here on one of the third bullet points, talking about promotion from within versus state national search. Does it sound like we want to do a culmination of both? Open it up to both internal and outside? Is that what that's asking?
That's what that's asking.
Okay.
Do you want to just do one or
No,
both?
I want to do both. So can we check off one bullet point? Trying to move us
If
along.
I can, just give you, as a reminder,
Uh-huh.
your school board policy states that, you'll be having this discussion, at an open meeting where the public will have an opportunity to comment.
Correct.
And so we don't have any action items on your agenda
Right.
until after public comment. So that you can take all the input tonight before you make a decision.
Thought we had to make some actions. Okay. Thanks.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well,
No, I
well,
mean,
no,
not today,
no,
but not,
I'll-
right.
We can
not
today.
today.
We can later.
You
I'm
can.
guessing Brett has. some
Hold back on those.
I know, in my head, I'm like, all right, let's get this done. Here, make some decisions.
Well, but I mean, I think you're right, like we have to kind of,
Talk about each one.
Talk about each
Yeah.
one. you know. What's happening over there,
I think he wants to say something.
Jason?
Jason? Wow.
At the bottom of that document, and this is what I would like to continue to share out and push.
Bottom of your document?
Yeah,
Sorry.
below what I had in is, can we start building out a hiring plan then? Like, let's write this down. Let's say, here's the first stage, these are the gates, these are the people that are gonna be the stakeholders responsible for it. Here's what we're gonna look for. And then boom, here's the next piece. It goes to the panel. Panel's gonna do this. Here's the hiring plan overall. And just move that across for every single phase until we get to the bottom of it. So just so we can see it. So it's Leslie and Susan getting the first round, saying, do they meet these 4 buckets? Yes, no, there's nothing subjective it's completely objective. And then we get that next, or the panel gets the next round, the panel goes through, there's a grading rubric on there. And then we just map out that timeline overall. The biggest thing that I definitely want to have on here is who those key stakeholder groups are. and be very, very public in what their roles and responsibilities and voting, consulting, what meetings they're involved with, what interviews they're involved with. That's not on here yet, but I'm working on that. I just wanted, that would be very helpful.
And I agree with you on that.
Yes,
But I think before we even do that, we need to decide, that means we're saying we're doing this all in-house.
Yeah.
And not hiring somebody. I think that's the top thing. Are we hiring or are we not?
And
Okay.
if,
And
and
you know what I mean?
yeah,
And if we're not,
Making that
then
we
decision.
don't make that right now.
We aren't making any decision.
no, but if we're not, then I agree
Yeah,
with
yeah,
you.
you
You
are.
can tonight. We can
yeah,
make
you
that.
are, you need to hear public comment first
Yeah.
before you
Oh,
make that
thank you
decision.
so much.
And I think we should, because I
Right.
think we need to move this along.
But
as
I,
quickly as
just to validate what Jason is saying is once you do, after you hear public comment, once you do make a decision and once you take action on it, then I agree that being able to establish what those
Yeah.
groups are and all of that, the sooner you do that, the better, so that those groups have time to
Right.
plan that process, if that's.
I
the
agree
route
with
you're
you.
Yeah.
Except for looking
Well,
at.
Mhm.
So I think
Okay.
when we get to action items later after public comment, we can decide, correct, if we want to hire a firm, a consultant service, or do this all in-house. And then after we decide that, we can make a plan, right?
Cause it looks like, to Susan's point, April is when we would have to open up to the groups, if I'm borrowing someone else's timeline.
So yeah, for Shannon, I would ask for public comment now.
Oh, great. Okay, let's do it. Public comment. Well, let me read. Are those readers?
Yes.
Yeah. Forgot. So much better. Okay, this meeting will now be open to receive public comment on the superintendent search. That's what the public comment is for tonight. We value the time and initiative of members of the public to take to share their thoughts with the board. The board's role during public comment is not to immediately respond, but to listen. If follow-up is necessary, we will direct our superintendent to do so. Remember that we are all role models for our students. Please share your thoughts respectfully. Should any public comment include complaints regarding a personally identifiable staff member, the board chair will direct the speaker to the proper administrative process found in board policy KL public complaints. Well, we are not gonna have complaints tonight, but speakers will have 3 minutes to express their thoughts. Thank you. I forgot mine. Public comment. Do we have anyone in the room that would like a public comment?
Yeah.
Yes, Miss Brett Dewar. Please state your name.
Name is Brett Dewar, President-elect of SEA, and I'm speaking on behalf of SEA.
Okay.
We would like to say thank you for your service, Susan. You've been an amazing superintendent, and thank you for being in constant communication with us. We've been very happy. Also, we just like to say that, either it be, internal candidate or external candidate, we really would like to have the opportunity to give our feedback and to ask questions. So we would like to have an interview committee, and it could be a bunch of licensed employees, but at least having people from the union representation on it. And then secondly, also, we just want to make sure that you guys are, of course you are, just want to make sure that you guys are thinking about optics in terms of paying for consultants that, I don't know how much it is. I have heard 10,000, 25,000, but just want to make sure that, because there are going to be cuts for next year. And so just know that staff will be looking at, well, they paid for an outside consultant, which costs as much as an employee kind of thing, maybe, a little bit less, but it's just, you guys got to be careful with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you.
totally.
Thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience? Oh, yeah, come on up, come on up. Come on up and just state your name for us, please.
Juanita Cazares, I'm a senior. Am I supposed to state that?
That would be great,
Yeah.
yes. Any senior?
And then my comment is that, can I like say anything, like an opinion? Not like
Yeah.
anything, not like having both or like.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
we're
the
happy to
staff
know
move,
if you'd
like-
like that, but
No.
about, we're kind of talking about this, the search for a new
Yeah.
superintendent. So anything you want to say on that topic, your opinion is great.
I just want to say is like, as a student's view, like, I feel like having somebody who we're familiar with is like really great. Like somebody who's here, somebody who we've known for like many years as a superintendent, like it would be like amazing to do that, I think.
Okay, yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I want you to know that we do value that feedback. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for all your work though.
Thank you.
Anyone else out? All right, do we have anyone in the online, the Zoom?
Probably expressed to. Don't hear any.
Hey, hi, everybody.
Comment, now's your time.
Oh, thank you. Hi, I'm Shelby Gagnon. I am, oh, can you see?
You're muted, we can't hear you.
No, now we can.
Yes,
Oh, no,
Nope.
Oh, Greg, you gonna?
can I chat?
didn't work for a second.
I saw her lips moving.
Hang tight, please hold. You can write. We'll try to get you on speaker, but
Does she have to turn her mic on?
is your mic on?
It says her mic is on.
Oh, yeah.
It says her mic is on.
Oh, okay. Yes, it does.
Our speakers are on.
Say something now, Shelby. Can you say
Hello?
something?
Hello? Yay, you all just wanted to hear my voice. Hello, I am Shelby Gagnon. I'm the middle school student success TOSA. And I would have to echo Brett's statements about the conversation around the cost of a consultant, right? I also heard $10,000 or $25,000. Working in the middle school, our school-wide consumable budget this year was $5,000 for 347 students, 30 staff members. It was $5,000 for the whole year. And so that concept of a $25,000 for one person or one team, when we have a entire district full of highly educated, creative, innovative individuals who would be more than happy to really roll up their sleeves to help you on this search, that just gave me pause. But I also wanted to speak about hiring from outside. A couple years ago, I applied in district as a language arts teacher to be an instructional coach, and it was a great interview, yada yada. Had been in the district for 4 years at that point, and I was denied the job. They brought in someone from outside who was amazing, who brought so much new information and experience to our district, but she also really worked on being a part of our community and really getting to know our people. So I think in the regards of, do we treat in-house candidates the same as far as interviews and panels and really getting our community's thoughts? I do think that we do. But thank you all so much for your time and your energy, and I really appreciate you all.
Thanks, Shelby.
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 Anyone else out on Zoom? Practice our wait time.
Yes, our wait time.
It's a teacher thing.
It is a teacher. We're all like, yeah, right there.
Wait time.
Wait time.
Wait,
Oh, yeah.
to give your students time to think before they answer.
Oh, yeah.
If you answer for them or move on too quickly. You lose
You
an
miss them.
opportunity.
You have to be okay with the pause.
Just did that in civics class.
Yes. That was fun.
Longer than 7 seconds though.
I think that those comments,
Hold on one sec, Jane.
no, I can't.
Yes, count to 7. Yep, okay.
It's been 7.
Any last call for public comment? Last call. We're gonna count to 7. Okay, we can move on. Jason.
I think we should review the table. We should go final on it soon, but I don't want to lose sight of those comments. I mean, that's a good point. Like, it's a lot of money.
Mhm.
We spent a lot of time on a $30 million budget. And that can sway our perspective on how much $9,700 is. So
Mhm.
I think that goes without saying. and
Teachers do
it's
not operate on that.
good to ground us in that. We had a kid a few weeks ago, last week,
Yeah.
who just wanted more balls.
Oh, right,
So-
right.
So let's not
24,000
lose sight of that. And I think that I am just as guilty as anyone who might have lost sight of how much money that really is.
Mhm.
That's all I have to say about that.
That is a good point. Before we, do we need more time for this? We can make an action item after we have one more thing to discuss. The budget committee, and then we can do action items, and we can make an action item, whether we're gonna go in-house or out. Decide. We can do that. And then after that, we can, do we have to make an action item
You just need, somebody would just need to make a motion.
on how we
We just
make a committee and all of that?
Yeah.
Can we just do that?
If you don't do that tonight, you're gonna have to have another work session to figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
you-
if you don't
Mhm.
make conditions about a basic process,
Yeah,
then we will be scheduling another meeting.
So it's a threat.
I'll make a thread every now and then.
think she's so nice.
Unless everybody likes to have a meeting every week, which I'm fine with, but.
You know, I am concerned about how many meetings. Cause I wanna be involved in all of it. And as you know, I'm not always here. So anyway, I'm gonna look at the calendar very closely.
Yeah.
Something on the-
Technology is great.
One of the consultants' information was that they would create a schedule that everybody was available for, every board member was available for. So it's the same idea that we have too, right?
But I think if we came up with a committee that could do a lot of the initial things, we wouldn't all have to meet all the time. And they, not that we would make any big major decisions, but a smaller committee that can get the ball rolling.
You talking about
Can't
reviewing,
invite-
early reviewing of kind of sifting through the applications and
That kind
I
of thing.
personally would. Definitely want to be a part of that.
Oh, good. I nominate you as president.
One of my nervousness is
I mean,
with
I would,
bandwidth.
but we can't do that. No nominating.
One of my nervousness was bandwidth, but what I'm hearing from the group, what I'm hearing from the feedback is that people are willing to put in the time to, make this big decision.
It is a big decision.
Brett said the union wants to be a part of this. Shelby says, their comment kind of
team.
makes it, they're ready to take this task on too, as a team.
Yeah.
Right? It's just putting, getting our groups together, say, all right.
And
2, 3, 4, 5.
timeline and
Yeah, and we
process.
just say, hey, teachers, classified students, board, whoever else, that's.
Yeah.
We just line them up, so these are the 7 groups that are gonna be a part of this.
There's a table for that.
And then we give them a chance to put your team together. Right?
Right,
We,
come up
you
with
know,
your,
we do a little bit of delegating, just say,
Yeah.
hey, here's the team,
the
you
framework.
guys do your stuff, get your stuff together. and-
You said 7 groups, is that
I
right?
It's just throwing a number, but this is,
I mean, I
Big
I
idea.
don't wanna cut any corners, but I truly honestly believe time is of the essence.
yeah, cause
Right,
how many
that's what I
groups did we have when we interviewed for Susan? That
I
would
think
be
she came up with 4, the
There
board.
were 4
4
groups.
groups.
So there were two interview sessions. There was, this group, the selection group or whoever it was who did the initial review of the applicants came up with 6 candidates to interview. And it was over 2 different nights.
Yeah.
And, I think I was on the second night, but I don't remember, it doesn't matter. And then from those Brett, were you involved in those? No, okay. I know Karma led the license group. I just remember her that she was the person who led that. Anyway, and then from those 6 candidates, then they brought me back for the full day.
But the groups met with board members.
One group was
licensed,
board member and Sheila. Then there was the license group, which like I said, was either 10 or 12 people, I think. And then a classified group and then the leadership team.
And then there was a community session, right?
Yes,
Open
and the
to
leadership team also included some of the supervisors like transportation and those
I
folks.
think we need to add 1 group to of students. I know the community night, the students were there asking questions.
But there was also a student group, because that day that I came back, I had activities for the whole day. And when I was at the elementary, I met with a elementary student group, and when I was at the middle and high school, I met with groups of kids at both the middle and high school level as well.
So,
And
so
decide
did,
that as well.
so did every final candidate go through that?
I think there were like.
I was the only finalist.
Say,
Well, no, but no,
but no.
No,
but
the
there's
other.
four groups they did, there were like 6 or 8.
The six who were the
Group of
original
four
who
groups.
interviewed
Okay,
only went through those 4 groups.
okay, and why I keep pressing the time button is I'm of the opinion that there aren't that many great superintendent candidates out there. And the ones that are out there, how long are they going to still be there?
That's a question,
And I
right, that's why we
don't-
gotta get
I
them
don't
out.
wanna be the last one in
Right.
line.
I agree
I
with
think
you.
you'll be surprised at how many you get.
I hope so.
But we
Pleasantly
do need to move quickly, so we don't get
surprised.
scooped up
I bet you'll get 40
elsewhere.
plus.
Oh, I think we'll get candidates. I said top
Right.
quality. I'm not trying to be funny. I just think
I know.
if you want to be choosing amongst the best, you can't wait till the
Oh, I
end of the
agree with you,
process.
we gotta get going.
And Jason's already outlined some of those groups. It looks like there's 6 to 7 potential panels. He's got a great. Like,
How you do this so fast.
So
Consolidated.
Okay.
In those group of people that we
Back to
include.
our,
oh, right, digressing.
yeah,
Okay.
okay, so let's go to real quickly the next item on the agenda, which is the budget committee, and we're gonna regroup when we do action items. Budget committee vacancy with the appointment of Coral Sadler onto the board. We now have an open budget committee process. And according to our board policies, we've already opened it up, we've got applicants. And if somebody gets off them, we can just kind of choose a new one. So if we would like, we can go back to the applicants that applied before. We also had some great applicants for the board position that we could appoint. We're not gonna appoint them tonight, we have to appoint them at a regular board meeting. But we can decide if that's kind of the route we want to go. Choose one that we've already looked at. As a pet, or. You know, the ones that have already applied and had interest in, we can go back and ask them if they're still interested, and at the next board meeting, appoint one of those. As opposed to opening it back up
Yes.
and redoing the thing,
That would be my
okay?
Yeah.
preference.
To open it back up?
No,
No, to just choose one that's already,
somebody.
Of interest.
They've already said they are interested, they want to be on there.
we would probably have to reach back out to make sure they're still interested.
Well, yeah.
Before we,
And not too.
Exactly.
Would we also reach out to the other two
we can, yeah.
to add in it, or would it, or were we talking about that we were preferring the budget committee?
I think we could do both personally.
So
That,
reach out. to
that
both.
would have to be part of what you decide.
Yeah, on action item.
Mhm. Because one of the documents you have attached is that ranking form that you originally did. Because you have 2 more candidates on there.
Right, so we can appoint one of those, or I think we could also add in the other 2 board member applicants.
That
Into
you
our mix,
interviewed.
that we interviewed in our mix, and then appoint one of those at the next board meeting.
So if you want to consider both of those groups or just one of those groups, you'll need to let us know, because we would need to contact them to see if they're interested.
So that needs to be.
Because you wouldn't want to appoint somebody who wasn't interested.
Right,
All right.
And they haven't expressed interest for that committee, however, I mentioned it at the last meeting, so I feel bad if it wasn't an option.
right, and I also did mention it to both of them.
Mhm.
I spoke with each of them after
I personally
the
would give
interviews.
priority to the ones that wanted to be on the budget committee in the first place. That would be my priority.
So all we have to do is just make. Tonight, we have to make a motion to. Use the existing list of, not open it up again, right? Use the existing applicants.
Yeah, basically you need to determine the process you're gonna use. So if you're going to look at previous budget committee applicants, you make that motion, and then you can either choose to do some sort of a ranking like you did last time, or come to the next board meeting and
Somebody makes the
somebody
motion.
can make a motion. If you're gonna combine those two groups, then what's the process for, you know, looking at the group and making a decision? Or is it again, just somebody coming to the next meeting and making a motion? Or do you want to use some sort of a ranking system like you've done previously? Or something else?
Yeah, can we just have the people that applied for the board position to add their application to the budget committee list?
You could make a motion.
Make a
I
motion.
can make a
Yeah.
motion for that,
If they're interested.
if they're interested,
Yeah, but you can make a motion if they're interested in one of them.
right,
So you should make a motion.
right now?
Yeah.
We didn't pick any of those.
Okay, so are you? moving
Okay,
on
we're
to-
moving on to action items.
No,
Missed the
No.
last one, okay.
no, those are the four. that-
Yeah.
Yes, you
Oh,
are.
I heard a big
Yes,
no
you
over
are.
there.
You're moving on to action.
We're moving on to action items. Does anyone have any motions to come before?
I move to use for the vacant budget committee position, I move to use the previous list for budget committee applicants. And open that back up again for review. To just that list. And add the two people that also applied for the school board position. And if there are interested,
So they need to fill out the same.
They would need to fill out the
so we
same
can make
sheet.
Comparison.
then we do the same thing, period, previous. That was the motion.
We need a second on that motion.
Second.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded to review the two budget committee members that applicants that applied previously and also add the two applicants to the board member to that list.
I'm sorry, are there only two of budget committee people?
There's two left, yeah.
They're left.
These two right here.
Mhm.
Oh, it's just white. one.
Oh, it's just the
Not
white
just the
one.
white one.
Low ones we've.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You
approved it.
appointed the other two people.
Okay, got it. I
And then
missed the last
yeah.
meeting.
Mhm.
Oh,
So in the case they're not interested anymore,
Then you can't appoint them.
yeah, we can appoint them and we have other two people to consider.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay,
you
all-
motion second.
The second,
So-
all those in.
I'm just gonna restate the motion, which was, I move to review applicants, or review previous budget committee applicants as well as previous board applicants for the budget committee vacancy.
Okay, all those in
Is-
favor? Are you ready?
Is that right, Jason?
Yes,
Approximately.
correct.
All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Those opposed, motion carries.
So Leslie, can you call them, call those people to make sure everybody's still interested?
Yes,
Okay, or not interested?
right.
They're still interested.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, can I confirm who seconded the motion?
You tell me your interests.
All right, so now we need to take an action on kind of the beginning processes of the recruitment for new superintendent.
Would like to make a motion to do in-house for the new superintendent recruitment and employment process.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to use an in-house recruitment process for the new superintendent. Questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Sorry.
And I'm sorry, can I confirm the second on that again? Thank you.
Sound good.
The process, did that have to be in the motion?
Now we can.
Now.
Now that
we're
we
being-
Yeah, so now we recommend that you decide who's gonna be on the committee. So in that, the first job of the committee be to develop a timeline and.
Right, so,
Process.
and authorizing that committee to make those decisions on the
Yes.
initial.
Thank
On
you.
behalf
You
of
know.
the rest of the board.
Do they need to nominate people to be part of the committee?
do we need a committee if everyone here's?
Well, does everybody have the time and the? Like, I would like to be on that.
Me too.
You would.
Okay, great.
Which committee?
Chuck does.
Yeah,
To kind of get a
That'd be-
plan going.
Yeah.
For how we're gonna hire, what the timeline, plan, all those things.
Yes.
Now, if we're all there on a committee, does that mean it has to be a public meeting?
Absolutely.
It does.
What if
So I think we need to
three?
limit, huh?
But 3 is okay?
Mhm.
No. It would still be a public meeting.
Oh,
If
so
you're
only
gonna-
3 just can't make decisions.
Any group of board members who are making decisions for the board, even if it's not a quorum, that has to be
Mm.
done in a public forum.
Now, if they're an advisory committee,
Well, to the superintendent.
Right,
What
to the
if- Would
superintendent.
be an advisory to our own board.
Yeah, I mean,
You
it just
can.
means that when
I mean, if we're just.
we have a committee meeting, we.
We have
it
to
just
do
has to
do
be
it on
open to
Zoom.
the public,
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
which is not a big deal.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I just want to double check on
It's a
that
good thing.
quorum issue.
It's a good thing.
Transparency.
It is, it's a good thing.
yeah.
So does everybody want to be on? It is that way.
No, I,
Well, I think we'd all be on eventually,
Or at
but
least
does
the group.
everybody want to
You
be
know
in
what I'm
that
saying.
initial
Yeah.
planning
So this is just the plan. I'm
timeline?
not talking about
you're making
like having a
sausage.
teacher part of that committee, because isn't there is that separate?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
separate. I think this
Okay.
is just getting the ball rolling,
Okay.
right? Setting a timeline.
Got it.
What committees, what groups are we gonna get?
Mhm.
When are we gonna get them? Where are we gonna put the?
Right. We're basically being the consultant. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but you're gonna want a consistent group of people that are gonna need to commit to coming to all the meetings.
And there's gonna be plenty probably.
So I know that can be really difficult for everybody.
Right.
Well,
And finding the
really-
time that everybody
Mhm.
can join. How many people needs to be present?
I think that was what you were saying, that if you're going to
Whoever
do it,
I think it does.
Decide.
This is a
Yeah.
subcommittee, so, you know.
I think you, right,
I would say
too many
this
cooks
is
in the kitchen,
Three.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I
I
mean,
think,
just know you're gonna be working with the district staff.
Yeah.
You're gonna be, like, you're gonna have HR people when you're determining what your employment application looks like and what the questions are, and like, you might be working with somebody else on district staff when you're talking about your marketing materials and, who's gonna take some photos and what it should look like, and, there's all those.
What
things
platforms you're gonna
that-
use and
Right.
that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So if you decide that it's, like board members or whoever it is on it, would it still be open for applications from like community members or staff members or students per se, like to be on that committee? Or would, if you guys decide tonight that it's just going to be you, even if it were a public meeting, would there be space on the advisory for other people outside of the board to be on it?
I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think for this purpose right now,
Yeah.
just to get kind of the plan and the timeline and all that, I think it can just be
Yeah.
board members working with the district staff. And then once the applicants roll in,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the important.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
So task number 1 is put together a charter on what your roles and responsibilities are, and then what everyone else's roles and responsibilities are.
Right.
And then we can go that out. And that's when you bring in the additional groups to make
Exactly.
sure that, hey, this person actually, we can always add or whatever we need
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, once the
Somewhere.
process
Yeah.
is established.
that's a great question.
and it'll be on Zoom.
Okay, we need to appoint a committee. We need a motion. I have the time. I
Okay,
mean,
Yeah, it's like all,
I'm flexible.
how do we determine the time of the day in which we're doing things
Let's-
and?
That's what the committee would have to decide.
I think I'm gonna step out because thinking about too many cooks in the kitchen. And this committee is just the planning, the bones of how we're gonna move this forward. It's a lot of reading, so I can step
Yeah,
away.
I'll step back as
Yeah.
well. Well, I
Yeah.
really want to be involved when it comes time to screen through.
Right,
okay.
that's the part I wanna be involved with. I don't need to be a part of.
But I-
Jason's already actually set it up.
I know, it's like Jason, I feel like you're on it.
I was.
Jason has to be.
I don't know if.
To not
I'm
be.
on this as a-
our committee chair.
Okay, then now it's me by myself. So,
And
Thinking cat.
Yeah, right, you're in charge. of putting some people.
I think that board president should not be the lead of this committee. I think that she's got power on her own. I was going to nominate Kat.
So nominate you.
I know, I appreciate
You
that.
do
I
too.
can be an administrative assistant. That is the extent of my capacity right now.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah,
You're a good administrator.
I mean, I tell you what to do.
I can't appoint anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
sure
can
is.
zip it. You've done enough.
Then I don't, they can step back, I don't know.
It's,
I want, no, Shannon needs to, I think Shannon has to be on it. I do not think that in her role as president, she should be the lead of that committee.
Okay.
So we need to
I
make
would-
a motion to set this committee.
One last question.
Yes.
With that.
Yeah.
This is a question about are there other committees coming down the pike this year that we should be cognizant of that is also going to take bandwidth away from everyone else? And do we need to be strategic in the amount of time invested in this one for what is coming next?
Well, you're
I
just
think
on
we
your
have a
regular
big year
monthly
ahead.
committees.
It's a great.
No, not those. Like, those are the fun ones.
This one's,
But don't we have another contract to work on this year?
No?
well,
A
this,
year off.
this is the contract we
This
have
is
to
it.
work on.
We don't have it. There's
I mean,
nothing
it would
else.
be.
Until next
these are
year.
ones that are
Not until next year.
required to be worked on.
Teachers negotiation is next year.
Next year.
Next year, there was.
Okay, okay, that's great. That is one
We
option,
just finished the other one.
Yeah, no.
right? Okay, so in that case,
Okay.
that's good.
I would love for you to do it. If you can.
Okay, so far we have Shannon.
And
No.
Kat.
And
Kat.
Jason.
Commissioners. Oh, never mind, Jason Dow.
No, Jason,
Is
you
there
have
a
to be.
limit?
No,
Okay, so you're in.
There's four.
So I
You got
nominate-
the great number.
okay, make a motion.
I move to nominate Kat as the lead for this committee to include Shannon and Sandra
And Jason.
and Jason, which is weird to say.
That's what she said.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to nominate Kat to be the lead of this superintendent search committee.
Okay.
Along with myself, Sandra, and Jason. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Who seconded that?
Brian.
Right, I
Thank
did-
you. Sorry, I keep missing them.
Vigorously.
Yeah, he was real good. Motion carries.
Hey, good job. Congratulations.
You just have, you're not on.
Now the committee can come up with a plan, timeline, all that. We don't have to do that tonight.
I'll work with Kat because she's the lead on this too.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
establish.
Okay.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay. Oh. Maybe text me when you're, I've got meetings back to back. Until.
Okay. There we
Okay,
go.
anything else for the good of the order?
We covered everything most likely.
Oh, yeah.
We did cover.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
I think so.
that I can read on my agenda. Okay, if there's nothing to come before the board, thank you everyone for being here and this, meeting adjourned.